All right, let's dive into something really fascinating today. We're looking at how some very public figures handle their personal journey.
Yeah, things like identity, relationships, just figuring themselves out.
Exactly. But with the whole world watching, it's a huge pressure.
It really is. Trying to find yourself when every single move gets scrutinized.
Absolutely. And today, our sources are giving us this deep dive into the recent, very public shifts around JoJo Siwa.
Right.
So our mission here is basically to unpack what the material tells us about her current situation, look at some of the, interesting details reported, and then explore this really compelling parallel with Demi Lovato's journey, see what connections we can make about finding, peace and authenticity under that spotlight.
It's about understanding the pressures, the pattern, using what the sources provide as our guide.
Perfect. So let's jump in. The core question from the sources regarding JoJo: is she dating a man? Has she, and this is the phrase used, fully rejected lesbian?
That's the language right from the analysis, yeah. And for context, the sources remind us about her time on Big Brother recently.
Oh, yeah?
There was that, slightly bizarre reported detail about her peeing in kitty litter boxes in a cat outfit.
Which, okay, that definitely jumps out from the report. A weird detail for sure.
It is.
And while she was in the house, the material says she was also canoodling up with a man, right? This guy, Chris.
Yeah, and this was apparently while she still had a girlfriend back home, according to the reports.
Oh, wow.
Right, and the sources really emphasize that this is where those big on-camera talks about her identity started happening.
On camera?
Yeah, the reports detail her questioning if she's lesbian, saying maybe she's really queer, maybe exploring, not feeling like a woman, perhaps even non-binary.
And this is all playing out publicly on the show when she can't actually talk to her girlfriend. That sounds incredibly difficult.
It really does. So the immediate aftermath reported in the material, once Big Brother ended and she left.
Yeah, what happened then?
She broke up with a girlfriend back at home. That's what the sources state.
Okay, so naturally, the speculation must have just exploded. The sources say everyone was asking.
Right. Is she going to get with the guy? Is she going to get with Chris?
Is JoJo going to be with a man for, the first time ever?
And based on what the sources are presenting, it appears that that is officially the case.
And there have been public signs.
Apparently so. The material says she's made the relationship with Chris, Instagram and kissing in public official.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, reports mention seeing pictures and looking at the videos, like them vacationing or doing something, specifically in a pool canoodling.
Got it. But what does JoJo herself say?
Well, the sources do mention her position. She apparently insists that they are not exclusive yet.
Oh, interesting.
Just exploring and having a good time together is the quote used.
Okay. And how does the analysis in the source material frame this shift? Was it expected?
Well, they suggest it wasn't a total surprise. She's characterized as someone who is always changing some part of herself every couple of months. Described as being on a journey to find herself.
And the reason given?
It's framed as understandable because she was a child star. She really didn't have a private personal life.
Right.
So now, as an adult, she's kind of trying to figure out her place in the world.
It sounds like the core conflict the sources are describing, right? The outside world may be labeling her one thing.
Like a gay icon, yeah. That label gets mentioned.
While internally, she might be feeling something completely different. And the sources suggest this leads to changes where she changes her mind basically every day.
But what's really striking in the source's observation is how she looks with Chris.
How so?
The analysis notes she genuinely looks happier and more natural than she has in years, like relaxed and at peace.
That's a powerful observation. What's the interpretation behind that, according?
The idea floated is maybe this peace comes from her not playing pretend anymore.
Oh.
Or not trying to be what society was telling her she needed to be, like holding up that gay icon image. Perhaps, the sources suggest, she just needed to find somebody that she connected with.
It really highlights the pressure of trying to be authentic when you've grown up like that, which I guess leads us right to the parallel the sources draw.
Exactly. They explicitly say JoJo's story reminded so much of Demi Lovato's whole gender identity story.
Okay, so let's unpack Demi's journey as presented.
Right. So, tracing the timeline from the source, back around 2017, reportedly a very tough time, came out as queer, battling substance abuse.
And the overdose happened soon after that, right?
That's what the sources indicate, yeah. Then fast forward to early 2021, and things had apparently just gotten worse.
Worse how?
Trying sobriety, but was California sober.
Yeah.
So no hard drugs, but still smoking weed.
Yeah.
And this period reportedly included some, unusual activities.
Like what?
Like hunting aliens and ghosts, and even singing her song Skyscraper to Ghosts.
Singing Skyscraper to a ghost. Okay, that's quite a detail from the sources.
It definitely catches your eye. And they even throw in this specific anecdote about their friend Alex.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, he was trying to find other queer alien ghost hunters and accidentally texted the source instead of Demi, but set it to the wrong number initially.
Wait, what did the text say?
The reported text was, "Hi, it's Demi Lovato. I'm looking for other queer alien ghost hunters."
Demi Lovato. Oh my gosh, that's memorable.
A very quirky detail from the sources, yeah.
Yeah.
He barely got the right number eventually and was, pretty embarrassed.
I bet. Okay, so back to Demi's timeline. What happened after that period?
Well, by the end of 2021, the sources say Demi had realized that California Sober was not working for her.
Yeah.
Became completely sober.
And since then?
The material suggests everything has gotten better. In 2023, she finally went back to she, her pronoun.
Okay.
And also dropped Scooter Braun as her manager.
Those sound like significant changes.
Yeah. The sources frame them as signs of a lot of healing happening in her life, both in personal life and career.
And there's a very recent update, too.
Yes, the sources report that just this year, 2025, she just got married.
Wow.
And they clarify she just got married to a man.
Now, the really compelling part is how the sources describe Demi now.
They say they've never seen her look more beautiful, and
Really?
Yeah, the wedding photos especially are highlighted, showing her looking so healthy and so natural and so beautiful. And Demi herself, according to the reports, keeps talking about how happy she is and how she's never felt better.
That sounds like a positive outcome.
The material definitely presents it as a success story. But importantly, it's not because she married a man. The source explicitly says, I really don't care about that aspect.
Right. The success is...
It's because she genuinely looks healthy. That's the focus of the analysis.
And this is where that parallel with JoJo really clicks in the sources, isn't it?
Absolutely. Both, as the material points out, did not have a private childhood.
Right.
Both were kind of chewed up and spit out in Hollywood, is the phrase used.
That's intense language.
It is. And for Demi specifically, exposure to terrible influences and different types of drugs is mentioned. Plus, the sources add, Demi's family really wasn't supportive.
So the material presents both as having to somehow find her way through all of that.
Exactly. Under incredibly intense conditions.
But with Demi, the sources conclude, eventually she did.
So, bringing this together for you, the listener, you see these shared threads highlighted in the source. Child stardom, public lives, navigating identity, relationships, personal struggle.
All under that constant scrutiny.
Right. And then this reported journey towards finding some kind of peace or health in adulthood, with these recent public developments in their personal lives acting as sort of visible markers.
It really underscores that core theme from the material, just how hard it must be to figure out who you are when you've grown up with everyone watching.
But the sources do end on a hopeful note. For Demi, there's this real excitement wanting to cheer her on.
And hoping for something similar for JoJo.
Yeah, hoping to see that with JoJo Siwa. The analysis hopes maybe this is a good fit for JoJo, whether it's Chris or someone else down the line.
The main thing is seeing her find that peace.
Exactly. The key takeaway seems to be wanting JoJo to continue to have that much peace and have that glow around her because, as the material notes, obviously something has changed in JoJo.
There's a sense of rooting for her.
Definitely. The sources are clearly cheering her on.
So this really isn't just celebrity gossip, is it? It's a look at these complex paths to authenticity.
And the unique extra pressures faced by people who've lived their whole lives out loud, basically, from such a young age, all based on what our sources are telling us. What can you, listening, take away from these reported journeys?
We've covered JoJo's recent reported changes, and that really interesting parallel the sources draw with Demi Lovato's path through identity shifts, struggles, and finding this reported sense of peace.
It really leaves you with a question to think about, drawn right from the material we explored. What does it actually mean for someone who is a child star, always a public figure, to finally find herself as an adult?
Yeah, how do those constant outside expectations shape that journey? And what does real, authentic peace even look like when your life has always been performed, in a way, for the public?